ever imagine turning like a couple $100 into $1 million?
Yeah,
I mean, it sounds crazy, right?
that's pretty good.
But back in 2014, there were these folks, right? And they bought Ethereum
Oh,
during its pre-sale
uh-huh.
for just 30 cents each.
Wow.
Fast forward, and those tokens, they hit over $4,000 each.
Yeah, that's the kind of story that pulls people into crypto pre-sales, right?
It's wild.
That promise of getting in early before a project just takes off. But, it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Definitely not.
Okay,
For every Ethereum, how many others have we seen crash and burn,
countless.
leaving investors with, well, nothing?
Absolutely.
And that's exactly why we're doing this deep dive today.
Yeah, makes sense.
We're digging into the hidden gold rush, unveiling the high-stakes world of crypto pre-sales and ICOs. We're going to help you spot those red flags, those warning signs. We're going to break down the mechanics behind all the hype.
Because it is exciting, it's easy to get swept up, but you got to understand what you're getting into.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So let's break this down. First things first, what are pre-sales and ICOs?
right.
I mean, people compare them to traditional IPOs, but there are some big differences.
Yeah, you can think of it almost like crowdfunding, but on a whole other level.
Okay.
With a pre-sale or an initial coin offering, you're basically backing a project, right? Often when it's still very early on. And you're doing this by purchasing their tokens.
Okay, so you're buying into their idea, their project.
Exactly. Now, these tokens, they might give you some sort of utility later down the line, like access to a platform, maybe voting rights, who knows?
Okay, like you get to be a part of it.
Right. Or, and this is often the hope, they buy them simply hoping that the value will skyrocket.
Right, just like those Ethereum folks we talked about.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the kicker. Unlike those traditional IPOs, this whole process, it's way less regulated.
Oh, so it's kind of like the Wild West of investing.
In a way, yeah.
Risky business.
Fewer regulations mean that projects, they can launch super fast, which is exciting.
Right.
But as we saw with BitConnect, which is actually highlighted in the excerpt we are looking at, it can also create a breeding ground for scams.
CryptConnect, that's a name that sends chills down your spine.
Right.
So much promise, and then poof.
Gone.
People lost everything.
It just shows you're often betting on an idea, not a finished product. Due diligence, my friend.
Due diligence. That's what it all comes down to.
Well,
So we're talking about navigating this world of pre-sales, right? Trying to avoid those scams. Like panning for gold, you got to know how to spot the real deal.
absolutely. And it's more than just avoiding scams. You really need to understand what you're putting your money into.
Right, because anyone can throw together a website.
Exactly. Make it look all flashy, throw in some jargon, call it a white paper.
Poof, they're gone with your money.
Happens all the time, unfortunately. Our excerpt even mentions projects that just vanished overnight.
It's scary out there. So where do we even begin with due diligence? This feels like, I don't know, uncharted territory.
It is, in a way. But the first place I always start, the team.
Okay, the people behind the project.
Right. Who are these people? What's their experience? Have they done this before?
So we're looking for a track record, something we can actually check out.
Exactly. Transparency is key. And you want to see a real commitment to the project, not just a quick cash grab.
So like a bunch of LinkedIn profiles saying blockchain enthusiast isn't going to cut it.
Probably not.
Okay, what about the tech itself?
Just as important. You can have a solid team, but they need something to build on, right?
Right.
So look at the problem they're trying to solve. Is it a real problem? Is the tech actually innovative?
This is where you really got to dive into the white paper.
Yep. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Research those technical terms like, what the heck are tokenomics?
Yeah, what is that?
Basically, how the token works, how it's distributed, what you can use it for, how it gains value. Important stuff.
It's like kicking the tires before you buy a car, right? Making sure it's got an engine under the hood.
Exactly.
Speaking of tricky terrain, what about the whole legal side of things? It's global, right? Regulations are all over the place.
And that's a huge point. Our excerpt actually talks about how the SEC is really cracking down on certain ICOs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but then other countries have just banned them altogether.
So it's a total maze.
Exactly, and that's why this due diligence is even more important. You got to understand the risks involved.
So are there any specific terms, like legal terms, that people should be looking out for?
Yeah, things like liquidity terms.
Okay, now explain that like I'm 5.
Sure. Basically, these terms tell you when you can actually buy or sell your tokens.
Okay.
Because some projects have these things called lockup periods. Yeah, meaning your investment is frozen for a certain amount of time. You can't touch it.
So even if you see the price skyrocketing, you can't cash in.
Exactly. With all this uncertainty, you really have to be careful. Remember those Ethereum investors? They got lucky.
Luck's not a strategy, though.
Exactly.
It's like that old saying, right? If it sounds too good to be true.
It probably is, especially with crypto.
People making millions losing everything overnight.
It's a wild ride. And yeah, those huge returns are possible, but definitely not guaranteed.
So before we wrap up our crypto presale deep dive, what are the big takeaways? What do we really want listeners to remember?
Okay, so first and foremost, approach all of this, pre-sales, ICOs, with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Okay, be cautious. Don't just jump in head first.
Exactly. Because, yeah, there's a chance to get in early on something big, maybe even revolutionary.
Ground floor opportunity.
Right. But there's also a very real risk that you lose everything.
It's not for the faint of heart.
Definitely not. And that leads to the second big takeaway. Due diligence is non-negotiable. You can't skip it.
Absolutely not.
Don't just rely on the marketing hype.
Or promises of becoming a millionaire.
Right, all of that is just noise. You have to dig deeper. Scrutinize the team, understand the tech, figure out if it has a real-world use.
And if at any point something feels off,
Walk away.
even if everyone else is telling you it's the next big thing.
Especially then. Trust your gut. There are plenty of other fish in the sea or, crypto projects out there.
That's a better analogy. So to be a smart investor.
Be an informed investor.
Love it. Now, one final thought experiment before we go. Let's say you're offered early access to a brand new cryptocurrency. Really promising, everyone's talking about it.
Okay, I'm listening.
What's the one question, the most important question you'd ask those developers before even thinking about investing?
Oh, that's a good one. It really makes you think.
It's all about cutting through the noise, right? What's the key to feeling confident in this world?
Absolutely.
Head over to our social media. Let us know what you think that one crucial question is. We'd love to hear from you. And remember, the more you learn about all of this, the better equipped you'll be to navigate the world of crypto. Until next time.